I never thought a single summer could change my life forever. But that was before I met Ethan Cole. It was the year after college graduation. I had just moved back home to my quiet hometown in Oregon. My parents owned a small bookstore by the lake, and I started helping them run it while figuring out what to do next. Life was simple, predictable, maybe a little too predictable. Then one afternoon, a man walked in carrying a camera and a rain-soaked smile. "Hey," he said, brushing his hair from his eyes. "You wouldn't happen to have a copy of The Great Gatsby, would you?" His voice had that kind of confidence that instantly pulls you in, calm, easygoing, yet warm. I pointed toward the classic section, and as he walked away, I noticed his camera strap read Cole Visuals. "You're a photographer?" I asked. He turned and smiled. "Trying to be." That was how it started. A simple conversation in a quiet bookstore on a rainy day. Over the next few weeks, Ethan kept coming back. At first, it was to buy books, but soon, he was staying for coffee and long conversations. He'd sit near the counter editing photos, and sometimes I'd sneak a look: sunsets, city lights, people smiling at strangers. His pictures made ordinary life look beautiful. One day, he showed me a photo of the lake at dawn, pink light reflecting over the water, like something out of a dream. "You took this here?" I asked. "Yeah," he said, his voice soft. "I was hoping to capture peace, but I think I found something else instead." He looked at me when he said it. I laughed it off, but my heart skipped. Before long, he started inviting me on his shoots. "You've got an eye for this," he'd say, handing me his spare camera. We'd drive out to the cliffs or the old bridge, chasing light like it was a living thing. It wasn't long before everyone in town started noticing. "You two look good together," my mom would tease. I'd blush and pretend it wasn't true, but deep down, I knew I was falling for him. And he was falling too. One evening, after we'd finished shooting by the lake, the sky turned gold. Ethan set his camera down and said, "Lena, close your eyes." I did. When I opened them, he was holding a small photograph, me laughing, hair blowing in the wind, eyes bright. "You don't see yourself the way I do," he said. That moment felt infinite. No words, no noise, just the soft ripple of the lake and the sound of my heart beating faster than it should. For months, everything felt like magic. We became inseparable: breakfasts at the cafe, late-night editing marathons, spontaneous road trips. Ethan said I made him feel grounded. I said he made me feel alive. But as the seasons changed, something began to shift. Ethan started getting calls from a studio in Los Angeles. They wanted to work with him on a travel photography project, something big. He'd always dreamed of it, but I could see the conflict in his eyes. One night, he came over, restless. "They want me to move down there for 6 months," he said. I smiled, pretending to be happy for him. "That's amazing." He frowned. "It doesn't sound amazing when you say it like that." "I'm proud of you, Ethan," I whispered. "This is what you've always wanted." "Yeah," he said quietly. "But now I want us to." That night, we sat in silence, staring at the stars. Both of us afraid to say what we were really thinking, that maybe love and dreams were pulling us in different directions. The day he left was harder than I expected. He hugged me tight at the station, kissed my forehead, and said, "Promise me you'll keep living, even if I'm not around." "I will," I lied. And then he was gone. For weeks, the bookstore felt empty. I'd catch myself looking up every time the doorbell rang, half expecting him to walk in with that same crooked smile. He called me every night at first, then less and less as the project grew demanding. I told myself I understood. He was chasing his passion just like I always encouraged him to. But part of me felt left behind, like a chapter he had already finished reading. Months passed. One evening, I got a text. "I'm coming back home for a bit. Need to see you." My heart raced. When Ethan arrived, he looked different, more confident, more tired, more distant. We went for a walk by the lake. He told me about the project, the success, the chaos of city life. Then he took a deep breath. "Lena, they offered me a full-time position. It's huge." I nodded, forcing a smile. "That's incredible, Ethan. You deserve it." He looked down. but it means I'd have to stay there. For good. The silence that followed was heavier than any storm. I don't want to lose you, he said finally. But I can't give this up either. Tears filled my eyes. Then what do you want me to say? Tell me to stop, he whispered. I shook my head. I can't. This is your dream. I begged him to stop. I'd later tell myself, not because I wanted him to quit, but because I wanted him to stop torturing himself between love and ambition. But Ethan never stopped. He kept chasing his dream, and in doing so, drifted away from me. Years passed. I threw myself into my own photography, inspired by what he had taught me. I opened a small art studio near the lake, and people started noticing my work too. Life moved on, slowly, painfully, beautifully. One day, while setting up for an exhibit, I saw a familiar name on the guest list. Ethan Cole. He walked in that evening, camera still around his neck. Our eyes met, and time folded back like it never left. Still capturing peace. I teased. He smiled. Still trying. We talked for hours after the gallery closed, about everything and nothing. He told me he'd traveled the world, but nothing ever felt like home. I told him I'd found my peace here. Then he said softly, I never stopped, Lena. Not with the photos. Not with you. For the first time in years, I understood. He hadn't stopped loving me. He just didn't know how to balance that love with his dream. We didn't need to rush into anything. We just sat by the lake again, like we used to, watching the reflection of stars dance across the water. Sometimes love isn't about holding someone back. It's about letting them go and trusting they'll find their way back when the time is right. And Ethan did. He never stopped, not because he ignored my pleas, but because real love doesn't stop. It grows, it changes, it waits. That's what I learned from him. And that's how our story, imperfect, unfinished, yet beautiful, finally found its peace.